morning, everyone. Now we shall start with the inauguration function. On the behalf of the organizing committee, I extend you a very warm welcome to each one of you to the 18th International Congress on Thermal Analysis and Calorimetry, ICTAC 2024. We are thrilled to have you join us for what promises to be a highly engaging and insightful event. At this time, I request all our distinguished dignitaries to come forward to the dais. Before I read out the names, may I kindly request our esteemed director, Professor V. Kamakoti, along with the conference organizers, convener Professor Ramesh Gardas and Professor Jitendra Sangwai, the co-convener, to accompany them on the stage. We are honored to be joined by former director of IIT Madras and chief guest of the day, Professor M.S. Ananth, president of International Confederation for Thermal Analysis and Calorimetry, Professor Nobuyushi Koga from Hiroshima University, co-convener and president of Indian Council of Chemists, Professor Ranjit Kumar Verma, president of the Indian Chemical Society, Padma Shri Professor G.D. Yadav from ICT Mumbai, president of Indian Thermodynamics Society, Professor Nand Kishore from IIT Bombay, HOD of the Chemistry Department, Professor G. Shekhar, and HOD of Chemical Engineering, Professor Niket Kaisare. I now invite everyone to rise for Tamil Thai Valithu and Vande Matram.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் மதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரிதனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே. வந்தே மாதரம் வந்தே மாதரம் சுஜலாம் சுஃபலாம் மலயஜ शीतलाम् सस्यश्यामलाम् मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रज्योत्स्नाम् पुलकितयामिनीम् फुल्लकुसुमितद्रुमदलशोभिनीम् सुहासिनीम् सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं.
Thank you. I would now like to request our director, Professor V. Koti, to honor our esteemed guest with the Angvastram, starting with Professor M.S. Ananth. Professor Nobuyushi Koga, Professor Ranjit Kumar Verma, Professor G.D. Yadav, and Professor Nand Kishore. That's it. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Professor Gardas and Professor Jitendra Sangwai to come forward to felicitate our director, Professor V. Kamakoti. Now, Professor Gardas will also present a token of appreciation to Professor G. Shekhar, HOD Chemistry, and Professor Jitendra Sangwai will honor Professor Niket Kaisare, HOD of Chemical Engineering. I now request Professor Ramesh Gardas to extend a warm welcome to the ICTAC 2024 attendees.
Good morning, all. On behalf of Organizing Committee of 18th International Congress on Thermal Analysis and Calorimetry, we call in short ICTAC 2024, and this is organized in association with 4 societies, and we are honored that all the 4 society presidents are sitting on the dais. A warm welcome to all of you. Few delegates couldn't come, and few delegates came very late because of the heavy rains and flood situations and the water on the track. On behalf of entire organizing committee, we share the pain what you have gone through for the long hour flights and long hour trains. And in spite of that many difficulties, you came here. I sincerely thank you all. In this program, from today onwards until the 7th morning valedictory, we have a jam-packed program of having 5 plenary talks, around 17 invited award lectures, 56 invited talks, 5 industry talks, 153 oral presentations, and about 105 poster presentations. Everything is here in this ICSR auditorium ground floor. We call this is as a main auditorium or a TTJ auditorium. Hall 1, Hall 2, Hall 3, we call AMM Arunachalam auditorium, or we'll call Hall 3. And the Hall 4 exhibitions exclusively for poster presentations, and everything here for 4.5 days and around 58 sessions, so parallelly running, and I'm sure you will not able to attend all and some might be clashing. We tried our best to put a track-wise. We have 10 tracks, so the people who are specialized of the special track should not overlap. We tried our best for your comfortable stay, for scientific talks, cultural, what you call the heritage, cultural heritage, and flora and fauna of our IIT Madras, and the UNESCO heritage place visit to Mahabalipuram. So anytime you would like any information or any help, please look out to volunteers are with the tag. If you do not find volunteers, 2 people sitting extreme corner, my colleague Jitendra and myself, you can reach out anytime. So again, I welcome you all. This entire conference, exhibitions, everything, main or dining hall, everything is in the ground floor. And washrooms, waters, everything is on the ground floor. And our entire campus is a no smoking zone. And apology for that, for those home. And we have arranged many things to look around the campus. So anytime you free, you think that you are not available, buggies and institute bus and everything. I hope you will cherish this entire ICTAC 2024, rich of Indian culture, rich of scientific events and heritage, and I'm sure good food. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request all the dignitaries to rise for the program book release. And the release will be done by our director, Professor V. Kamakoti, and the chief guest, Professor M.S. Anant. Thank you. Now, I would like to request our director, Professor V. Kamakoti, to deliver the welcome address.
Friends, a very, very hearty welcome to IIT Madras campus. Just a quick survey, how many people are visiting India for the first time? Wow. So, we are actually a reserved forest. We have around 630 acres of land, in which 70% is still green, and 30% with very carefully we have filled it up with some amount of concrete. So please enjoy this campus. We have endangered species, including black bugs. We have more than 240 varieties of butterflies, several birds, even migratory birds. We have a very, not so big, but a reasonably large lake inside. So and also monkeys, plus professors. Right. So enjoy the campus. And also, you could have a very nice morning walk where you find a lot of young fawns just born. If you are lucky, you can see many of them. So friends, I'm very happy that ICTAC is happening at IIT Madras, and 4 societies together are involved in building this up. And I also see with a lot of happiness that at least 5 groups are coming together: thermodynamics, kinetics, material science, environmental sciences, and pharmacy. We recently have laid a lot of emphasis on the interdisciplinary work. We have recently launched a school of interdisciplinary studies. And one of the objectives of this is to bring several engineering disciplines together and see what we can do. And a lot of emphasis has come from the national education policy of Government of India that we encourage these interdisciplinary education. We also realize that even at a degree level, at an undergraduate level, there must be a significant exposure to interdisciplinary education. So our curriculum is designed in such a way that 40% of the credit are open credits. So a student joins, for example, civil engineering, do 60% of the courses from core civil engineering, but the 40% they are open and they can do any electives. And this gives an opportunity for them to select some interdisciplinary area in which they would like to specialize. And then they spend 1 extra year after their 4th year, and they get a dual degree, a degree in civil engineering and also another MTech degree or postgraduate degree in an interdisciplinary area. So we have 15 such interdisciplinary courses, and I'm sure many of them have a lot of overlap with these 5 areas that are mentioned here. we have also started a Department of Medical Sciences and Technology, where we are very deeply looking into the engineering model of a human body. The ultimate theme of this department is driven by a book named Virtual You. So where we aspire to create a complete digital twin of a human. And there we also find a lot of these thermodynamics, kinetics related principles going much deep into modeling the human body and understanding the human body from an engineering perspective. So these are some very interesting developments that we have from IIT Madras. In addition, environment is very high in our priority. We have started a school of sustainability where we have many centers coming together and working in this area, all the way from recycling to waste to wealth to energy consortium. We have a very strong energy consortium. We are looking at green hydrogen and so many things. So during this stay of four days, I understand from Ramesh that it's heavily packed, but I also would request all of you to, go to these departments if possible, look at our facilities, and I invite you to basically look at IIT Madras as a place for collaboration. We are very much interested in taking international relations to a next level, specifically in interdisciplinary areas. So we will take this opportunity to collaborate further and also do certain very important projects that need global participation, specifically in the area of climate, area of water management, area of medicine, aligning with many of the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. So with this, a very, very hearty welcome to ICTAC. Very happy that this is the first time it's happening in India and also and we are very happy to host it. So please enjoy your stay and wish this conference a great success and a technically rewarding set of sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the warm welcome. Next, I invite Professor G. Shekhar to share a few words with us.
Very good morning to all. Respected Professor Kamakoti, Director, IIT Madras, our Chief Guest, Professor M.S. Anand, former Director, IIT Madras, Professor Ranjit Verma, Mahant University, Professor Koga, President, ICTAC, Professor G.D. Yadav, President, ICS, Professor Nand Kishore, President, ITS, and the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, chairpersons, speakers, participants, and dear students. On behalf of the Chemistry Department at IIT Madras, I welcome you all to the 18th International Congress on Thermal Analysis and Calorimetry 2024 and 14th National Conference on Indian Thermodynamics Society. I would like to share a few words about our department. The Department of Chemistry was started in 1959, and now it has grown to one of the best chemistry department in India, with the QS ranking 4th in the country. We have 32 faculty members, 4 emeritus professors, 1 visiting professor, 7 distinguished adjunct professors, along with 25 technical and administrative staff members. The department has 130 MSc students and 285 PhD students and more than 70 project staffs and postdoctoral fellows. The department is well equipped with modern instrumentation facilities and actively engaged in performing quality teaching and research in frontier areas. We are proud to say that several of our alumni are distinguished academicians, researchers, and industrialists and are spread worldwide. The department's alumni, dedicated faculty, and students are among its core strength. Our chemistry department is happy and honored to conduct this international conference, ICTAC 2024. Once again, on behalf of the chemistry department, I wholeheartedly welcome you all to this conference. I am sure this conference will be fruitful and productive for all of you. We look forward to your future interactions and visit to our department and IIT Madras. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the kind words. I now request Professor Niket Kaisare to say a few words.
Good morning to all of you, dear dignitaries, participants, faculty, and students. On the behalf of the Department of Chemical Engineering, I welcome you all to this conference, ICTAC 2024 and ITS 2024. So, as we tackle big challenges in energy, environment, sustainability, water, and so on, this calls for a collaboration across multiple disciplines. When we do this, when we do our research, when we do our teaching, what happens that we often pursue what is new, what is interesting, what is jazzy, okay? But the main concepts of nature that we have learned over the last few hundred years, they remain the same. A conference like this is a reminder that as we pursue these challenges, our fundamentals remain grounded, and we all remain grounded in these fundamentals. The other aspect of this is the interdisciplinarity, because nature does not know the boundaries. These are boundaries that we have created for understanding nature in a more easier and a better manner, whether it is chemistry, chemical engineering, thermodynamics, kinetics. These are all the boundaries that we have created. And an occasion like this is extremely important for us to go and tell students especially that nature knows no boundaries, and that's the reason why interdisciplinarity is very important in order to tackle the upcoming challenges. So with that, I'd like to welcome all of you again to this conference, and I wish you all the best to the organizers, and I wish great success to this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Ranjit Kumar Verma to discuss the genesis of 18th ICTAC and its significance in India.
Thank you, Khushbu, for the nice but brief words of introduction. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor M.S. Anant Sahab, Honorable Director of this prestigious institute, Professor V. Kamakoti, Honorable President of International Confederation for Thermoanalysis and Calorimetry, Professor N. Koga from Hiroshima University, who is sitting on the dais, Honorable President of Indian Chemical Society, Professor G.D. Jadhav, Padma Shri G.D. Jadhav ji, Honorable Professor Nand Kishore ji, President of Indian Thermodynamics Society, Honorable Professor G. Sekhar, the head of the chairman of the Department of Chemistry of this institute, my young friend, Professor Ramesh Gardas, Professor Jitendra, and all my friends sitting in the dais and colleagues. I, on behalf of ICTAC 2024, on behalf of the organizing committee, welcome you to this place. As you might have been aware, exactly 6 decades ago, the chemical scientists in particular, they discussed about formation of some society, some platform in Bombay. It was Kineticist Dharwarkar, Karkhanawala and Dharwarkar at Bombay, and a good society, Indian Thermal Analysis Society formed. Almost at the same time, on the global arena, a confederation came up, International Confederation of Thermoanalysis and Calorimetry, ICTAC, ICTAC.org, it came. And its nature, its primary objective has been to look after the research, the interactions, the collaborations in the variety of field of thermoanalysis, and to look after and to promote the cause of thermoanalysis and calorimetry in the world. Its basic nature is it affiliates societies, national and regional societies. Professor Koga will be telling more about it. And it also has several committees and working groups, including one on nomenclature, which does what most of the young chemistry students in school, they know IUPAC. So for thermoanalysis related terms, we are responsible. Last time that work was published, I think it was between 2012 and 2016 when I was secretary of ICTAC, and the conference was at Orlando Disneyland in USA. It also, there is education committee which formulates the standard curriculum. It works for designing curriculum aimed at the current status of instrumentation and possible applications. It also designs the methodology that should be adopted in kinetics. The kinetics committee had published very good result and report came, which is one of the most cited work in this field. When I was secretary during 2016 conference, and I was pro-vice chancellor of Patna University, 7th oldest university of the country, on behalf of Indian Thermal Analysis Society, we proposed to ICTAC to host it in India in 2020. And unfortunately, it could not happen in 20. Again, there was pandemic also, so the conference was in almost virtual mode in Poland. Now again, when I was Vice Chancellor of Munger University, the founder Vice Chancellor of Munger University in 2020, again, the Indian Thermoanalysis Society agreed and gave a letter of invitation, and we pursued the matter. And I am really very much thankful to ICTAC office bearers, the council and other friends in ICTAC who supported the idea. Otherwise, what was happening, every 4 years this conference is organized. Earlier, normally, one conference was in Europe, the next year, after 4 years it was in the States, and it was alternating like that. It was in 2012, it was in Osaka, Japan. Otherwise, it was not coming to Asia. So with our efforts and with support of all my friends in Bombay, elsewhere, here, this could happen. I am glad that we have, as Gardas Ramesh was telling, we have almost 325 presentations, including plenaries, invited lectures, workshop. We have 4 workshops, and we had 5th symposium, ICTAC 2024. It happened yesterday. So I thank all the, on my behalf, I welcome you, and on behalf of being President of Indian Council of Chemists, I welcome you all to this conference, and I have seen results coming up in the last 2 days. Lot of interactions are taking place, and future prospects of collaborations, interactions, and other things will come, and many workers will get inspiration from the works being reported, because thermoanalysis involves all sort of studies which has variety. As our colleague was telling, interdisciplinarity is really, it means thermoanalysis. Wherever there is matter, during the process of making or before putting it to application, we have to subject it to some temperature change, and their thermoanalysis has some application. So you name the field, thermoanalysis has some work. It is the oldest science, and most versatile science. Thank you very much. Wish you very fruitful discussion.
Thank you, sir, for the kind words. Next, I invite Professor Nobuyushi Koga to speak about the activities of ICTAC.
Dear distinguished guests, dear chairpersons of 80th ICTAC Congress, dear all the participants. On behalf of the International Confederation of Thermal Analysis and Calorimetry, ICTAC, I would first like to express my gratitude to the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, for providing us this opportunity to hold the 80th ICTAC Congress here in the outstanding circumstance of huge campus with full of nature. All participants can enjoy the circumstance. I also appreciate the organizing committee chairs, Professor Gadras, Gardas, and Professor Sangwai, and Professor Verma, and all the organizing committee members for their dedicated work to hold the Congress here in Chennai. We can now find the rich scientific program enough to promote the scientific status of thermal analysis and calorimetry. ICTAC was founded in 1968 and has a 55 years history. Among our history, the 80th ICTAC Congress has a specific significance from at least two different aspects. First is the Congress will be held in the face-to-face mode for the first time in 8 years from the 60th ICTAC Congress held in all around the USA in 2016. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the last ICTAC Congress was forced to be held as a virtual conference. We have been waiting for a long time to recover from COVID-19 and to have ICTAC Congress in the face-to-face mode. Now, our wish is fulfilled here in Chennai. The second is that the 80th ICTAC Congress is being held in an Asian country for the first time except Japan. Because ICTAC is an international confederation comprising 27 affiliate societies all over the world. Therefore, we expect the Congress to be held in various countries and regions of the world where thermal analysis and calorimetry groups are actively working. India is one such country. Here in Chennai, many eminent researchers in the field of thermal analysis and calorimetry come together from different countries to further promote the thermal sciences and to establish friendship among the researchers in the same field. The 1 week in Chennai will be an unforgettable memory for all the participants. I expect great success of the 80th ICTAC Congress and wish all the participants a fruitful ICTAC Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor G.D. Yadav to introduce us to the Indian Chemical Societies and its activity.
Good morning, everybody. Professor M.S. Anant, the former director and the chief guest of this function, and my long-standing friend, who is literally a thermodynamicist. And then Professor Kamakoti, the director of this great institute, Professor Verma, Professor Koga, Professor Nandakishore, Professor Gardas, Niket Kaisari, who is my student, Professor Shekhar, distinguished delegates, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, let me congratulate IIT Madras for becoming #1 institute in the country under the NIRF ranking. Congratulations to you and all your stakeholders. You have literally raised the bar for everybody else in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I will talk in two different modes. One is about the Indian Chemical Society, which was established on May 9th, 1924. It is celebrating its 100th year, centennial year, which was established by Professor, Acharya P.C. Ray, S.S. Bhatnagar, J.N. Mukherjee, and many others. And we are very delighted that the 100th year is going to be a very significant year for us. We have been celebrating this throughout the country. We started on 9th May 2023 in Calcutta, where the governor of West Bengal, Dr. Anand Bose, was the chief guest. And I announced 7 different awards, each of rupees 1 lakh. And these awards are created because of the munificent donations by industries, and these are my friends from industry, and that has raised the bar. Indian Chemical Society has more than 3,500 fellows. 8 Nobel laureates are also the fellows, honorary fellows. Many Padma awardees are the fellows. And we want chemical sciences to go ahead. So they say, in love also there is chemistry, not physics. Remember that. So chemistry is a critical science, and this has to be promulgated and propagated. So what we are doing, this year, in the particular, because I come from Mumbai, on 6th and 7th of November, we have a grand function in Mumbai. We have invited 17 presidents of international societies, chemical societies, more than 100 industrialists. We are publishing a copy table book where we will trace the history of Indian chemical industry and those who contributed to this science. And that book will be published at the hands of a VVIP. I can't declare the name of the VVIP because of the protocol, but that will happen. So I welcome all of you there. There were many distinguished members from industry and academia, and also from government, ministers, central, state. They'll be attending that function. We also have a very interesting coincidence. Acharya P.C. Ray was the first editor-in-chief of Indian Chemical Society Journal, the Journal of Indian Chemical Society. Now its 101st volume is running. So happens that I also am the editor-in-chief of this journal. We went to Elsevier in 2021. Since then, I have handled more than 6,000 articles. About 1,300 have been published. So the rate of acceptance is less than 20%. And the impact factor rose from 0.26 to 1.2, now it is 3.2. And it is a publication mode, a subscription mode rather. Every day I receive articles anywhere between 15 to 20. So every day in the morning I have to get up early to handle the articles. We have an editorial board of 55 international experts, and so the journal is doing very well. So I request all of you to join those who are connected with, whether they are chemical engineers, chemists, environmental scientists, biologists, microbiologists, biotechnologists, to join Indian Chemical Society. And so we were very happy to be part of this particular Professor Verma was my vice president last year. Now he is a president of Indian Chemical Council. Ladies and gentlemen, the importance of this particular topic which we are dealing with in this conference, cannot be overstated. You know what is happening to the environment? The concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has risen from 410 ppm in 2020, just before the pandemic, to 424 today. And we have emitted 36.5 gigatons, billion tons of carbon dioxide last year. And unless we bring this down to less than 10 gigatons, the temperature rise of 1.5 degrees C, which we promised in 2015 Paris Convention or agreement, that is not going to happen. So that means we have to take carbon out of our energy systems. Carbon should be fixed in the soil. Carbon is required for our life, but carbon is not required in the air, above certain level. So this is very important challenge. And this is where thermodynamics plays a very important role. We always say in chemical engineering, I'm a chemical engineer, and Professor Anant will vouch that Gibbs was a great gift to mankind. Professor Gibbs. And we use Gibbs free energy everywhere. We say the entropy of the world is increasing day by day. And this is where the importance of this thermal analysis is, and the calorimetry. During the pandemic and just after that, in last 3 years, more than 150 accidents took place in chemical industry. Most of them resulted into fire. Why? Because people did not do their job properly. The calorimetric studies are required to understand what happens when the reaction runaway occurs. What happens to that? And this is where the importance of this particular subject, which Professor Verma was talking about, cannot be overstated. It is very, very important. We teach, thermodynamics and reaction engineering, kinetics to all chemical engineering students. They look at it from a different angle, right? But this is important part. This is a cross-disciplinary subject, and believe me, there is nothing called pure science anymore or pure engineering. So there will be only two sciences in the future. That is, one is the science of dead and another is science of living. That is, these are the two sciences. Everything else is cross-disciplinary. Same is the case in engineering sciences. Nothing is pure engineering. We can't say that we are just chemical engineer or mechanical engineer. So, ladies and gentlemen, this subject is very, very important, and I must compliment the organizers, which Professor Ranjit Verma has been spearheading in India, for bringing this conference to India, gathering all these experts from various disciplines so that we all benefit. And I end my talk by quoting Rigved. What is said in Rigved? Ano bhadra krutuvu yantu vishwata. Let the noble thoughts come to us from all directions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights.
Thank you all. I just have to say that in this hall, we are from the people from more than 19 countries. So on behalf of the organizers, it's our honor to felicitate them. So I request our director, Professor Kamakoti, and our chief guest, Professor M.S. Anand, to honor them. I'll just give a very brief glimpse that 48 international delegates are here, and out of which 30 are faculty or scientists. So we are honoring all 30 in the alphabetical order of their last name. And please pardon me, I will try my best to pronounce well. In spite of that, if something is there, please pardon us. And it will be in the alphabetical of this row. I'll ask them to come and then please, in the respect of time, please honor that. And I will be keep reading, and sir, will you be keep honoring them, so it will be nice. So, Tadasi Ari from Japan, Ajaya Bhattaraya from Nepal, and Jaroslava Bartak from Czech Republic. Please join, sir. Ajaya, please join. Dimitros Bikiras from Greece. Yeah, I request photographer to take impromptu photo. No need to wait, please. Yeah. Ignazio Blanco from Italy. Konstantinos Chrysafis from Greece. Tadas Damaskas from Lithuania. Matko Ersek from Croatia. Jimino Florian from France. Alfred Kelly Menihard from Hungary. He told me, if you can't pronounce, you just say Fred. I will be happy, yes. Freddy. And that also I couldn't pronounce well. Yeah. Alfred Kelly Menihard from Hungary. Kohasu Kawasami from Japan. Kohasku Kawakami from Japan. Dimitra Lamboprolu from Greece. Jiri Malek from Czech Republic. He will be also our first plenary speaker. Nice. Nadeza Makova from Czech Republic. Wilko Mandik from Croatia. Atsumi Miyake from Japan. Sohel Mursid from Portugal. Rio Homura from Japan, Luis Perez Macuada from Spain, yeah, please clap. Kinga Peliskova from Poland, Sarma Pisupati from USA, Andre Rotaru from Romania. Andre, we will take photo for you. You please come. Chin Min Shu from Taiwan, Peter Simon from Slovakia, Peter Swersi from Poland. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah. Yeah. Peter Simon from Slovakia. Peter Swezi from Poland, Ardila Hayu Trivikrima from Indonesia, Stefano Cipretti from Italy, Anna Vedoklava from Slovakia. Yeah, Trivikrama, please come, from Indonesia. She is also the awardee of JCED of this year, Journal of Chemical and Engineering Data, where I am associated as associate editor. Stefano Vesido Ciprotti from Italy. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Anna Vikidlava from Slovakia. Haruka Yamamoto from Japan and Zui Yu from China. So Anna from Slovakia. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. Only one more. We have 9 sponsors for this conference. Anyway, my colleague Jitendra Sangho, I will read out name, but my own colleague, dear colleague, and the platinum sponsor, DTS Swayamprabha, I just want to honor Professor K. Mangal Sundar. Please come, sir. Please come. Thank you, sir. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Supposed to be very quiet. Yeah. Now, on behalf of all the organizers, I request my colleague Jitendra and me, we both join to honor the dignitaries on the dais. Okay, yeah, please read out.
Starting with Professor V. Kamakoti. Professor Nobuyushi Koga. Professor G.D. Yadav. Professor Nand Kishore. Professor Ranjit Kumar Verma.
Now, I am speaking as a dual role, not only as a conference organizer, but as a secretary of Indian Thermodynamics Society. So, on behalf of Executive Committee of Indian Thermodynamics Society, it's my great privilege to announce the first time we have instituted this award. And this is instituted by Professor Nand Kishore in memory of his mother, and this would be like a lifetime achievement award similar to that, who has made an outstanding contributions in the field of thermodynamics and related areas. And this is only by invitations and the approval of Indian Thermodynamics Executive Committee. Now, I have a great privilege to announce that this inaugural Lifetime Achievement Award of the Indian Thermodynamics Society goes to our chief guest, Professor M.S. Anand, for his outstanding contributions. It is also special for me. I joined this institute in 2010 under his directorships. Thank you, sir. I'll read out for the benefit of the young people. Madabusi Santanam Anant, we popularly call him M.S. Anand, was born in 1945, and Professor M.S. Anand was the 9th director of IIT Madras from December 2001 to July 2011. He is the architect of the world's largest open courseware in technical education, NPTEL. He established the first university-based research park in India, the IIT Madras Research Park, where we all will go. At least the international delegates and the speakers will go to visit a tour, and the students want, they can book it through the front desk. IIT Madras Research Park to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. He has been consistently rated a good teacher. He is a fellow of IICHE and INAE. He was a member of both the Scientific Advisory Committee to the Cabinet and the National Manufacturing Competitiveness Council from 2007 to 2011. He has been a visiting professor in IIT Kanpur, IIT Bombay, IISc Bangalore, Princeton University, and the University of Colorado, USA, and RWPH Aachen, Germany. He participated in the World Economic Forum as a member of the Global University Leaders Forum from 2007 to 2011. In December 2011, Industrial and Engineering Chemistry Research, that's the ACS journal, published a special fresh issue in honor of Professor M.S. Anand, leading researcher, gifted teacher, and a visionary leader of higher education in India. On behalf of Indian Thermodynamics Society, on behalf of 18th ICTAC 2024, on my personal behalf, and on behalf of all of us, please give a big round of applause to Professor M.S. Anand. Now I request President of Indian Thermodynamics Society, Professor Nand Kishore, and our beloved director, Professor V. Kamakoti, to honor Professor M.S. Anand. Sir, may I request you to deliver the Chief Guest address and your views on ICTAC 2024. Yes, please. Yes, please.
He is the first chemical engineer to be director of any IIT.
Please give a big round of applause. See, it is a coincidence. The dais, that sides are engineers and this sides are scientists. I have not made it, but it become like that. Okay, thank you.
A very good morning to all of you, and I want to thank Ramesh for the kind introduction. And I also want to thank ITS for choosing me for this award. And when I was asked, I retired 14 years ago. It's quite a long time ago. And so I was telling Ramesh, leave me in the woodwork, but he dragged me out. He said, please come for this. I want to share some thoughts with you. Particularly addressing students has always been a pleasure. And I'd like to share a few thoughts which hopefully when they become faculty, they will think about and maybe use in their lectures. Long ago there was a editorial by Flanagan in Scientific American, and he talked about the shifts in the focus of intellectual activity. And Philip Ball, who is well known as a consultant for the same society, he said it is the romantic stories about scientists, whether they are right or not, that are responsible for these shifts. And he gave examples. He said chemistry in the 19th century was romanticized by many stories. I'll just give a few examples. Sir Humphrey gave lectures when he was in the Royal Society. He wanted to popularize chemistry, and he gave announced lectures every Friday evening. And it was held in the Royal Society premises on Albemarle Street. And the crowd was so unexpectedly large that was the first street to be made one-way. It was the first one-way street in London. And second, another story is by James Kendall, who quoted, the Prince of Wales was invited to the Royal Society to make a demonstration, and he received molten lead in his bare hands, wet hands. And this is, of course, part of YouTube collection as well. But so this was again a story that was told by James Kendall. Then the story of Kekule's daydreams about a snake chasing its own tail that led to the discovery of the benzene ring structure. All of these were part of the narration. There were many, many stories that were told in the 19th century for some reason. And the best minds of the period, Philip Ball said, flocked to chemistry. And then came the 20th century. Before that, the periodic table was almost filled. Lewis, Langmuir, Bohr, and Pauling explained chemical bonding and aligned it with quantum physics. Then somehow the interest in telling stories seems to have waned. Nobody heard stories of chemists after that. Then it was the turn of the physicists, the 20th century, the first half of the 20th century. It was all stories about physics. And it was surprising. There is this beautiful book by Robert Jung called Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. It has a large number of these stories, but these stories were also part of the intellectual scene. And for example, Einstein was known to be reluctant to accept quantum theory. He was so annoyed with the probabilistic nature of quantum theory that he even said, God does not play dice. And he went on with this so long that Niels Bohr, otherwise a patient man, got very impatient and told him, stop telling God what to do. So this was a story that went the rounds. Then there was Eddington in 1915. Eddington was known to be good intellectual, but at the same time fairly haughty. And when Eddington was told, only 3 people understand the general theory of relativity. Einstein does, and you do. Then he said, what do you mean 3? I do, Einstein does, but who is the third? And so he didn't believe anybody else understood the general theory of relativity. Then Bohr gave a popular lecture on the uncertainty principle. I was told that Heisenberg was a little too stiff and he won't talk without mathematics. So the people went to Niels Bohr and said, "Will you please give a lecture on the uncertainty principle?" And he did. It was apparently very well received. But at the end of the lecture, somebody said, "What is complementary to truth?" And Niels Bohr immediately said, "Clarity." So he said, if you want to be very clear, then don't stick to the truth very rigidly. Approximate it and tell people what this story is. And these stories, for example, were very romantic. I mean, even I have read them when I was a student. And the best minds, Philip Ball tells us again, went now to physics, not to chemistry. So I would recommend probably the best way to attract the bright young minds back to chemistry, the best ones back to chemistry, would be to tell stories about chemists, both contemporary and older chemists. But these stories have to be repeated again and again. I must conclude by saying that by the word of caution, I used to tell stories in my class in thermodynamics, and I discovered after a few years that the students remembered the stories but not the thermodynamics. So sometimes you run the risk of telling a good story and losing the main script. I want to conclude by thanking ITS once again for choosing me for this Somawati Award, and I want to wish all of you delegates to this symposium a really interesting and fruitful stay in Chennai. We normally say in Chennai, please ignore the weather, because it gets very hot and humid. But actually today has been much better. But as we say, ignore the weather, otherwise you would find Chennai a very welcoming prospect. Also, IIT campus is 2 degrees lower than the outside. So before you go out, make sure that you take an umbrella or something. But anyway, I want to congratulate ITS and the ICTAC for the wonderful organization. And I want to thank you all for giving me an opportunity to say these few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Especially connecting thermodynamics and stories. I believe your students will remember both stories and thermodynamics too. And since thermodynamics came, we are inaugurating the 14th National Conference of Indian Thermodynamics Society as well as a part of this. So on behalf of ICTAC and on behalf of ITS and all of us, I just request the President of Indian Thermodynamics Society to tell a few words about the series of the Indian Thermodynamics Concert. Professor Nand Kishore, please.
Chief guest of the function, Professor Anand, Director, IIT Madras, Professor Kamakoti, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 18th ICTAC and also to ITS, Indian Thermodynamics Society. Indian Thermodynamics Society came into existence in the year 2001-2002. And since then, every year there has been a conference, except during the COVID years, which I'm sure that many of the conferences across the world got either cancelled or postponed. But thermodynamics, as was just expressed by Professor Anand, that sometimes they forget thermodynamics and remember the stories. Thermodynamics, when I was a student, was not a subject which was really loved very much because people were used to be scared of it. The numbers. But today, thermodynamics, whether it is science and technology, is there everywhere. Especially in chemistry, we have moved from volumetric, compressibility, heat of solution measurements, and today it is a part of biological sciences and all the other disciplines of science and technology. And through this platform of Indian Thermodynamics Society, by having conferences every year, we have been encouraging the researchers who are using spectroscopy, computational aspects, theory, and specifically calorimetry to share their research on how, using all these different approaches, the thermodynamics of the systems of their interest can advance the knowledge. Today, we have calorimeters. We can measure heats down to microjoules. And microjoules means we can very, very well address the systems of biological interest where not much heat is generated. And secondly, the principles of thermodynamics have led to developing guidelines for future, whether it is pharma sector or any other sector. And secondly, the data. When we talk about thermodynamics, that means we are talking about quantitative measurements. And the data becomes very, very important. Being the editor of the Journal of Chemical Thermodynamics, sometimes I face these problems that you send out a manuscript for review to 3 or 4 reviewers. All of them said, good, 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 accept. But the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, assistant editor says, there is a problem with the data. Data measurements, problem with the sample preparation, problem with the purity in the sample. So that means when it comes to thermodynamics, it requires great care, starting from the sample preparation to measurements to uncertainties. Because everything can multiply, and how much uncertainty can come with the actual number, and that sometimes becomes an issue. So Indian Thermodynamic Society is growing, and generally we do not like negatives. We all want positives. But in thermodynamics, we want delta G to be negative, because then only the process will take place. And it is so heartening to see so many international delegates coming to India, coming to Chennai. And I'm sure all of you will agree that delta G of coming to India is always negative. So welcome to India, welcome to the conference, and I'm sure that your participation in the conference will be a memorable experience. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insight. Now I request Professor Jatendra Sangwai to deliver the vote of thanks.
Very good morning, all of you. So I will not take much time. So let me thank Professor Kamakoti, who is the director of IIT Madras, for making his time out for this inauguration and his support during the preparation of this inauguration, conference work. Professor M.S. Anant, who is a former director and our ex-colleagues from the department, and also our patron for this conference. Professor Ranjit Verma, who is also the convener, co-convener of this conference, and all the head of the departments, specifically from the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Engineering. And I would also like to thank all the 4 societies: International Confederation for Thermodynamics and Calorimetry, Indian Thermodynamics Society, Indian Chemical Society, Indian Council of Chemists, and their president for gracing the occasions. I would also like to thank all the sponsors: Swayam Prabha, Rikaku, ACS, TLC, NetZoo, JEC, LR, Waters, Mittal, Lindsay's, SBI, Merckx, Parking Elmer, Royal Society of Chemistry, Ilico Marketing, LCGC, for their sponsorship for this event. I would also like to thank ICSR of IIT Madras, Office of Global Engagement, for providing the seed grant initially for this conference, and Office of Alumni Affairs and Ministry of Education, Ministry of External Affairs, for clearing the visas for many of the international delegates, etc. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the volunteers, specifically our student volunteers who have been involved, arranging many of these events for next 5 days, and all the colleagues of the Department of Chemical Engineering and the Department of Chemistry for their support and efforts to make this conference a successful event. At At the end, I would welcome all of you, and please enjoy your time next 5 days over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, to conclude our opening session, I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. I request the dignitaries and the speaker to join us for the high tea in the annex hall and the delegates to the main dining hall. Thank you.
As per the schedule, our session 1 should start at 10:30.